You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 197. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I've got a very special guest today, one of our graduates of Thriving Coach Academy. Yamato Yoshioka is joining us, and he's going to give you a little bit of an insight into his coaching business that he's been running for some time now. So welcome to the show, Yamato. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Frank, for having me. Excited to be a part of this today. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you work with leaders, and specifically those who are at mid-level management, those who are at the executive level, but also entrepreneurs who are looking to create a life that they actually enjoy. So we're going to go into that in this episode. We'll talk about what led you to work with this niche. We'll go over what are some of the different signs that people have, some of the challenges that you help them with. So why don't we first start with the niche itself? So what led you to support mid-level managers, executives, and entrepreneurs?
Well, really, the origin is my life story woven in as well. So 10 years ago, I lost my wife and the mother of my first three children to breast cancer. And that's when the boys were 5, 3, and 1 years old. And don't worry, it's a happy ending. I'm remarried now with 5 children, so no need to worry about that. But that was a really tough time for me. And at the time, I was a fast rising, high potential leader, one of the youngest managers in a Fortune Global Top 50 company. And obviously, my life circumstances woke me up to a deep, painful realization that life is so much more than the professional success I was striving for at the time. And looking back on it now, I really see that as a personal calling from the universe for me to do something more than the path that I was on. So I'm on a mission to support leaders lead better lives, both professionally and personally.
Powerful. Nice. Very inspiring. So you right now are working, just for everyone's awareness, part-time, but I know in the very near future, you already have the plan and you will be moving towards full-time coaching. Congratulations. That's
Yes,
awesome.
excited about that. Thank you, Frank.
Very exciting. So let's talk about what are some of the things you look for with in your audience, in your network to know that, they are a fit for your type of coaching? What are some of the signs that people are struggling with the challenges that you help them with?
Sure. There's a few. The first one I'll mention is the constant pursuit of achievement and high performance. There's a high commitment and perfectionist tendency in a lot of the people I love to work with, and they're always doing extra or always trying to control the situation to achieve professional outcomes and performance. And it's really taxing on them. And the second item is relationships. And this is both at work and at home. At work, it's their reputation and their high performance kind of keeps them held back from perhaps fully trusting their team members to do and perform at the levels that they perform at. And it creates distance for them in the personal relationship, and they feel that. And also, there's so little energy then to come home and have great relationships at home. So there's personal relationships under tension as well. And sometimes they're secretly suffering from these relationships. And perhaps the last one I'll mention is a desire to constantly meet the expectation of others. And again, this is both professional and personally. The work pressures from the supervisors, their board, or executives, if they're middle managers, the peers and their teams, it's a constant pressure. And then they come home and then their family commitments are also, never slowing down. So, I work with a lot of clients that try to meet all of that. And it's a persistent overwhelm, constantly on the verge of burnout, and certainly neglecting their personal wellness. Those are the signs that bring clients into my world to work with, and we usually have a conversation around those points on how I might be able to support them.
Makes sense. So it's kind of like your life looks really amazing on paper, right? Your resume, you've got all these achievements, successes, accolades, but behind the scenes, things aren't so great with that overwhelm, potentially leading to burnout, your personal wellness that's been neglected. You can get this constant push to achieve while also having some challenges with team members, but also relationships. Is that what I'm hearing are the main signs that you look for?
Yeah, and absolutely. And you hit it the nail on the head there. They're seen as successful, so they
Mm,
have very few places to actually go like talk this through, right?
yeah.
Because others see them as that, and they're relying on my clients, and so there's no space for them to
Right.
go.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, so many people rely on them and they probably wonder, well, who can I rely on? Like who can I talk to
That's
navigate
exactly it.
the
Yeah,
stresses and challenges and the pressure in my life? Very
that's
good.
it.
Okay. So you look for these different signs and let's talk about just people like this in general. What are some of the perhaps myths, beliefs, expectations, or in Thriving Coach Academy, we call them the rules. What are some of the most common rules that you hear in your clients when you start working with them?
The one that I always seem to have my senses on is they believe that they should be satisfied with the success that they've worked so hard to achieve to date.
Mm,
And, they really try to convince themselves of that. Oh, I love this. I'm doing this. This is great. And try to, trick their mind into believing that. But their body and their energy actually tell them something different. And you talked about the rules, that's in TCA. The rule change usually goes along the lines of the truth is you can want more than what you have, and that you can redefine success. And it's not selfish to want more. And that's really important because of the dependency of those around them on my clients, they feel like they're selfish. And that's something that we really try to reframe around.
powerful. Okay, so realizing that it's okay to want more, it's not selfish to want more. You can redefine your own success. And I like how you also mention how when you on the outside, while things might look great, on the inside, your body and your energy feels like something's off. That's powerful. All right,
Mhm.
give us another one. What's another myth that your clients typically struggle with?
Yeah, so some of them are still high achievers and they still want more professionally. And one of the greatest myths that we also work through is sacrificing your personal wellness is a necessity to
Mm,
sustain or increase your performance professionally. And it's so not true. It is if you don't change your behaviors and habits and your thoughts around how you approach life. But that's one thing that's a total myth. You can have it all. And, I work with my clients to do that.
I love it. Yeah. It's just one of these classic you can have one but not the other that a lot of us
That's right.
are conditioned to believe, right? Like you can have the success but not the health. You can have the success but not the fulfillment. And you've
Hmm.
got to sacrifice one for the other. It's it's pretty wild how that's just something that so many people think is a choice that they have to make. They have to like let go of one in order to have the other. Um,
Yes. Well, absolutely. Like the term work-life balance in itself, like
mm,
balance indicates compromise, and you can't have one without sacrificing the other. So Yeah, when I hear that word, I cringe because I want people to know that you can actually have both.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah,
We're checking out the idea of work-life balance. Love it.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what I like that you're sharing, one of those beliefs that you have, which is really not getting away from that work-life balance and thinking you have to sacrifice your, one for the other. What are just overall some of your other ideas or beliefs that you have around this topic?
Well, one of the things that I work with my clients, and it takes a lot of repetition, is I have them really slow down to speed up.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is most high achievers, high performers have gotten to that place by high productivity and high efficiency.
Hmm.
And so they believe that if they continue to do more and more of that, that they'll ultimately break through. But it's the old Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. By the time they're already that efficient, to get more efficiency has diminishing returns. And that's when they feel it in their emotions and their body. And
Mm.
so to actually get to the next level of, say, productivity or achievement, they actually have to slow down and create white space and really think things through. It's not a matter of running faster, but slowing down to speed up. So that's one of the things that I work with clients on.
Nice.
The
Before
yeah,
we even go past that one,
yeah.
I'm feeling kind of called out in a way. This is something that like I had my piano teacher on the podcast a while back, and she just talked about the adult brain and how we learn as adults. And this is one of the most common things that she's telling me is slow is fast. You have to go slow
Mm,
in order to eventually go fast. So it's totally aligning with what you're saying is slow down to speed up. And
yes.
I'm someone who could fit into this category as a business owner, people you work with. And it's
Yes.
true. Like you just feel like you've got to have be as productive as possible, go as fast as possible, be as efficient as possible. But
Mhm.
you that could also slow you down in the long run. It's kind of ironic the way it sounds, but you really do, like you're saying, have to slow down to speed up.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. In the long run, you're
Hmm.
not getting ahead. And
Hmm.
some of the societal pressures really put all of us into this
Yeah.
area. And I'm no different as well. It's something I work on as well. And actually the clients as they work through that inspire me at the same
Mm,
time.
very cool. Nice. All right. So you have the tell us about the inverted golden rule. You had mentioned it to me a little bit earlier. What is the inverted golden rule all about?
Yeah, I love it because I love working with people-centered leaders. They're just such great people, and I'm inspired to work with them and get the opportunity to work with them. And with these types of people, the inverted golden rule means, and maybe I'll back up a little bit. The context is they're usually telling their team, "Hey, it's okay. Be with your family. Take a vacation. Don't take your work phone with you," right? But then they don't do it themselves. So
Mhm.
the inverted golden rule is do for yourself what you say to others. And it's a really important item for these fabulous people-centered leaders to be able to see that for themselves as well.
Mm. One of the things that we go over in the academy that's coming up, and I'm sure you probably recognize this with your clients, are the masks that we talk about the mask and how people wear these masks to maybe feel a sense of belonging. And I'm hearing a lot of your clients probably having some of the perfectionist mask and also the people pleasing mask as well.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
what's funny about this is, we'll talk about, kind of leadership assessments later, but people think that their team members don't notice when
Mm,
they're not following the own rules that they're saying, but they absolutely do. So you're telling people to go home early, enjoy, and then they know that you come in early and stay late and
mm,
answer emails on the weekend. And people know that actually. So the inverted golden rule is really, really important to model the behaviors that you're teaching and saying to your team as well.
mm. Put on that oxygen mask first before you put on others' oxygen
That's
masks.
exactly it. And for parents, what are you modeling for your children, right? There's so many layers to it.
Beautiful. I'm sure you dive deep with your clients on unpacking all those
Yeah.
beliefs there. All right, and you also have this. There's the idea around savoring experience over success that you had. We talked about this earlier. Why don't you tell our listeners what this means?
This is another one that I'm a work in progress, but celebrating the journey over the success. The issue that I see with these high achievers, high performers, is they're constantly resetting their bar, of their own bar of success. And so they achieve one milestone, they'll literally celebrate it for 30 seconds, and then they reset their next goal. And they forget to realize that this is a journey,
Yeah.
and it's not all of these sprints that don't have any space in between them. And so I help clients really savor that journey and co-discover their intrinsic motivations,
Hmm.
because most of their goals are externally defined outcomes, but really get into those intrinsic motivations as well so that they can truly celebrate it when they achieve something.
I love this one especially, and I might steal it in an episode I'm working on. A lot of our listeners know
Sure.
I've been writing a book throughout this year, and it was very interesting because right when I finished the book and it went to editing, I immediately was like, "Oh, well, let me start a second book." And it's
Yeah.
it's so wild how when you are a high achiever or business owner, entrepreneur, like the people you work with, you can just finish something and automatically you're into the next goal. And there
Yes.
have been times, especially as an entrepreneur, and a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. There's no one there that's there to celebrate you. You've got to
Right.
celebrate yourself. You don't have the
Yes.
boss that's congratulating you because you are the boss. So I remember when I finished, like for the 100th episode of the podcast, a year or two ago, I'm like, let's get balloons. Let's just do at least something
Yeah,
to
I love
celebrate. So I
it.
got
Yeah.
like the big 100, and we're almost up to 200 episodes. So I'm like, when it's things like this or the book launch, it's important. And
Yes.
even as I'm saying it out loud, I realize I still got to work through the part of me that's like, well, why do I deserve to celebrate that? Do I really need to? And as you're talking about it, it really is so important and essential to savor the success, the experience, the journey, and celebrate yourself as you go. This is so good.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, I have to model it myself too. And as you opened the show with, I'm transitioning from my career into full time, and I
Hmm.
blocked out that transition time just to relax and take a breath,
Good.
because I know in myself that I'll end on Friday, and Monday morning I'll be right at it. And I said, no, I need to model what I'm teaching as well.
Very nice. Good. Listen to that, everybody. Make sure you savor your success and all of these exciting things in your life as you achieve them. Okay, so we got a good sense of some of the core beliefs and ideas that you help people really integrate. So, are there any kinds of other ideas or stories that you might want to share with our listeners here?
Yeah, I guess this one is a bit of a surprise to me, but the second and third order effects of my clients doing their work has been a pleasant surprise. And what I mean by
Hmm.
that is, as an example, a corporate executive, the wife of a corporate executive recently started exercising regularly, seeing her husband start as part of the work we were doing, and changed her healthy habits. And the same executive told me that, the team members that
Hmm.
he was modeling a people-centered leadership structure around,
Hmm.
they're now doing that to their members. So now he has
Wow.
impact 2 layers deep. So one at home, 2 layers deep. And
Wow.
another example is a vice principal at a very large elementary school. He's so great. He's such a positive, energetic leader, and empowered his staff to lead the same way. So of course that communicates and translates down into the students.
Mm.
But what he also said to me was more and more staff members thanking him for how that positive energy made life changes at home for the staff. So there's all these second, third order effects that are happening, which I never really anticipated,
Huh.
but I started to see why I love working with leaders. They're like an acupuncture point. If
Hmm.
you get this one person to model these behaviors, they have an outsized impact because they're so influential already. And that's been something that I wasn't aware of until the clients started making changes.
That's awesome. That ripple effect that people might not realize happens when they prioritize themselves. They do the quote selfish thing they thought they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
But by prioritizing themselves, they're having that ripple effect on their team, on their family, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Wow.
It's been a an amazing surprise and something that's so inspiring and seeing my clients have so much impact to the people around them.
Nice. Great. Okay, so let's talk about now that we have a good sense of who you work for and some of the types of things you're looking for with your clients. How would you describe your coaching style? So, in the academy, we really encourage our coaches to start to figure out what's their unique way that they want to show up and coach people. So, and there's
Mhm.
no right or perfect way to coach. So, what would you say your coaching style is like?
Definitely a sense of calmness I bring and depth as well. And how depth shows up during our sessions is I give lots of room and lots of silence. Um, and I find that, the type of people I work with, they're looking for solutions all the time. Like their mind is high performing and high revving. And when I just give them space, that's the relaxation, that's the depth, that's the profound insights in those moments that they need that they don't get elsewhere. As I said, they run a very efficient, productive a life generally, and that silence and holding that space for them is something that I think comes from my style, but also it resonates very much with as a need and a space for the people I work with.
I can imagine that's transformational to finally have somebody, a professional, just to give you that space, bring that calmness that they probably don't experience elsewhere. And whenever I meet a or see a successful person, it's one of the questions I think right away, who is their coach? Who is their mentor? Because it's so true. Growing up, I used to think, oh, successful people, that's just something that they they create on their own. But the reality is there's a coach behind, sometimes multiple coaches. There's a
Mhm.
team behind every truly successful person, especially those who are successful and fulfilled. There are coaches like you who are there to allow them to, not to even just allow them, but encourage them to get to the place that they're at in their life and not burn out or fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely. There's your own belief systems,
Hmm.
and then there's support systems that really allow you to be who you are. And I see myself as a support system to
Yeah.
my clients. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like we talk about coaching versus therapy, and both are great. But especially with the clients you work with, they're not looking to maybe process childhood, or they're not looking to go into trauma. They are just looking for a coach like you who can give them room to breathe and hold space, figure out, why they're feeling so much pressure, why they're feeling this need to achieve so much, and allowing them to, have that fulfillment that goes just beyond, and health that goes beyond like the outer success that they have.
Mm.
um, Loving it. Okay, so let's talk about now your unique way that you work with your clients. You have a bundle, a series of sessions that you provide with your clients, right? In addition to some other tools.
Yeah, usually the initial work together is usually 4 to 6 months. And
Four to six.
I really listen to what the client needs as we're getting into that relationship.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it's totally bespoke and customized to what the
Mm,
person needs, but generally it's 4 to 6 months.
okay.
How I usually start is we'll do a leadership 360 assessment,
Hmm.
and I also do a life 360 assessment. And so there's this between those two things, there's this holistic individual 720 assessment where
Mm,
we really understand what's happening inside the life of that individual.
mm,
And from that assessment, we'll identify areas we want to work on. Usually it's one or two key areas to start, expanding a strength and improving an area of development. And this is something the client wants to change. And we usually co-discover what those items are at the beginning. That impacts both their professional and personal life. And
excellent.
then we work on the strategies, the mindset, the skills and habits to roadmap themselves to that ultimate vision that they want for themselves. And I'm side by side with them through that journey.
Beautiful. I love it. So you start out with that 720 assessment, so figuring out what the leadership area looks like and then overall what their life is like, then working through the mindset from there. Okay. Was there anything else in your process or framework that you wanted to share?
Um, no, but what I will say is I actually went back
Hmm.
and looked at the most recent 5 clients that finished.
Yes, tell us.
And because I've actually, started to capture some, quantifiable metrics around it.
Mhm.
And I I measure 5 things. And so the average five or the average of the past 5 clients, so their vision from beginning to end improve 1.5 times. So they're
Wow.
looking to improve more things in their life than they originally set out to do. The strategy assessment, how they strategically go about their life was 2x.
Wow.
The mindset was 2x. The skill sets that they have 1.75
Okay.
times. And then the habits and energy of how they operate every day was 2x. And
2x.
so in 6 months, people are experiencing a different life. And
Mm,
I'm really proud of the clients because those kind of shifts don't just naturally occur.
yeah.
Me asking questions in our sessions, of course, pokes at things, but the self-awareness and the commitment to put those changes into their life, I'm inspired by my clients as they achieve these transformational changes.
Incredible. Incredible. Wow. Okay, cool. So totally transforming their life. I love how it's just within 6 months, having this bump in their vision, strategy, mindset, skill set, and energy. That's incredible. Like when you said the energy is 2x, the mindset, the strategy 2x, 2x for both. That's so cool. All right, so let's see if you have some kind of resource that you have available to people that might be interested in your work. So why don't you tell us about what that resource is?
Sure. There's a couple free resources on my website. One is, just helps understand who you are as a person. There's a personal values workbook. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can download it, work through it. Really identifies and discovers your core values and how you live into them today. So it's actually a really great self-awareness tool. And the second item is I also have a link to be able to conduct a leadership self-assessment.
Nice.
And I offer a complimentary debrief session so you can understand what that assessment's saying in a profound way.
Very good.
And yeah, it's complimentary. If people want to work with me, that's great. If not, at least they know the areas that they should focus on in their own leadership.
Very good. And we will put the links to access Yamato's website and get your hands on those resources. I will put those links in the show notes. So I highly, highly encourage any of you listening that if you feel like this could be some work that could benefit you, or if you know somebody who might really benefit from this, then send them over to Yamato's website and I remember clearly Yamato as a student in the academy, and his coaching is top tier. He is an exceptional coach. So check out his stuff, see what he's up to, and I know it's only gonna keep expanding from here. It's so awesome. He'll be making this big transition from part-time to full-time coach, um, which is just so great that you're gonna have even more time to devote to your clients and have even bigger results. So I want to congratulate you, Yamato, on the success you've already had. You've already begun working with clients for a while now and been seeing results. So it's just awesome to see what you're up to, and I appreciate you sharing, what you got in, how you got into this niche, and just some of the work you've done with your clients. Thank you so much for sharing this with our listeners.
No, thank you, Frank, for having me and the vote of confidence on my impact going forward. Really appreciate it.
Cool stuff. All right, everyone, check out those links again in the description in the show notes of this episode. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.